I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. You go to the site. And if you want to catch our live interactive show, guess what? Go to haps.tv. Haps offers world-class broadcasting tools and a community eager to collaborate and a simple way for viewers to support creators financially. Brought to you by our good friends at haps.tv. I think the last time we talked, Todd, we were talking NHL, which is a good thing. I wanted to talk to you tonight, real briefly, about streaming and sports, because we hear a lot of stuff going on nowadays with those two topics. But before we get into it, have a random question for you, stock market related question. Is it so crazy what we're seeing, what's happening with the Reddit users and GameStop and I guess the big bosses, the hedge funds and everyone else who likes to get into the mix, who usually makes the money, and we're watching a $5 stock turn into a $300 stock.
I've heard about it. I can't sit here and tell you I understand anything that happens in the stock market. I don't. I heard that the Reddit users were driving the price up somehow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, look, if I understood all of that stuff, I would, have the meaning of life too. So
I'm
I
primarily
don't know
talking
what they
about
did there.
how they're just sticking it to the man.
Well, what I do know about it is that, and this is where I do where my ears perked up a little bit was my understanding is that Steve Cohen is involved in this somehow, and
Uh-oh.
and that the one of the hedge funds that I like shorted the stock or something was the hedge fund that this happened to is run by his boy, like the guy that he mentored. And so
Okay.
I read a story today that said something about how one of his companies and another company are like trying to help bail them out or something. So
Wow.
check that out. I think it was in the Post today. Um,
Okay. I'll check it out.
but I
I'll check
saw
it
some.
out.
That's kind of what perked my ears up was Steve Cohen. Oh no, wait a minute.
Wait a
I don't.
minute.
Yeah, we just got a
Not
billionaire
Bobby
owner.
Axelrod.
Can we stop, please? Can we just you know can we just just do the business of owning the team? I don't want to hear nothing about you being
Yes.
involved with
Yes.
GameStop or next thing you
I
know,
don't
it's
want to
another
hear
Wilcon
any.
situation where
Right.
they're in trouble because of Madoff and it's I can't. So
I'm just happy where our team is, and with the new ownership, we haven't even played one game yet, but I like some of the moves that they're making. I'll tell you that much.
right, which is why I need him to keep his nose clean
Right.
and stop messing
That's
around with
true.
GameStop. That's if that's happening.
Well, I want to ask you this: has there been any reason for you to get excited about HBO, especially after they dropped having boxing? Because that was one of the reasons why I would go to HBO and or Sunday night.
HBO boxing. I mean, unless like I watch Bill Maher on Friday nights
Okay.
and stuff like that. But other than that, after The Sopranos and The Wire and all of that left, I mean, there wasn't really much reason for me to watch HBO other than boxing. Um, so I kind of feel like what's interesting about this whole thing with the streaming and all this and HBO Max and whatnot is I remember a few years ago, everyone was saying, or when I say everyone, I mean media experts. Everyone was saying that this is where we were headed,
Right.
and we're seeing it happen, like kind of before our eyes. And I think the pandemic probably sped that process, um, because now you've got a captive audience. Like this is the time to strike. So I'm not surprised we're seeing all this because we're all sitting in our houses. What else are we going to do? But now my question is, what's this going to cost when you start adding it all up? So
Right.
what are they charging for HBO Max?
It's like 14, $15, like 15.99 or something like that.
Okay, so fine. So you got your HBO Max. Then you want the NHL. So now you got to get Peacock. So what's that?
Right.
$5. So now you're up to 20, right? Then you
Right.
got Netflix.
Right.
That's another 15. So it's 35. And then you got to have your Apple TV because you like Ted Lasso. And you got to watch Apple TV, and who knows what that
Yes.
costs. Next thing you know, you're spending more than you spent on cable. And you kind of been tricked into it. So well, not tricked, but so that's my concern with all of these streaming services is that next thing you know you're adding up all the fees for all the streaming stuff you have to pay for, and what's it really doing for the consumer. So
I'll say this. I have HBO Max. Um, I will say I did watch Wonder Woman. Uh, it really didn't move the needle for me, but I like the fact that they're going to be releasing movies that would have been in the theater. That would have been in the theater. that are that's also going to be released on the channel on the same day. So I'm really excited about that.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a double-edged sword. as as someone who doesn't really like sitting in movie theaters, that's a nice thing that I can wait. I mean, I can see a movie on my couch the same day it's released in the theaters. That's great. Then people talk about, well, the theater industry is going to suffer and all of this. And my response to that is, well, when we invented the car and people couldn't sell bikes anymore or whatever, did we say, well, we shouldn't have cars because all the people that make bikes are going to lose their jobs? It's progress happens, and and you gotta roll with it.
Sorry about that. I had to jump out and jump right back in. Um, Conversation I had before was if it's not a Marvel movie, Disney, Star Wars, maybe DC, or what's that other visually? What's the other movie that was kind of out there? And they were supposed to release parts 2 and part 3.
Oh, Avatar, right? Is it
Avatar.
Avatar? Yeah.
Yeah, or Avatar, or even Mission Impossible. Then why do I need the movie theater when you got a 65-inch screen at your home and they
Yeah.
made it
And
available?
yeah, and I can sit on the couch in my underwear and watch the movie. I don't. why? Why would I want to and then spend all that money on popcorn and this and that? I mean, look, the theater has its place, and I think
Yeah,
that if the theater industry was smart, I mean, there you they can adapt to this. They can adapt to this, and they can still have a profitable business. They're just going to have to kind of they're just going to have to kind of morph into other areas. Maybe they start using their theaters. You know, maybe they don't have shows all day. Maybe they use their theaters for something else. Maybe they
Okay.
rent them to businesses to have presentations or meetings or something. I mean, there's a look. I'm not going to cry the blues for multi-million-dollar companies. If they want to stay in business, they're going to stay in business. But hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. No problem. And while you step away for that 1 second, I'm kind of led to think about. I guess I'm going to morph into, of all the movies that have been delayed, the one movie that I actually do want to see, and I'm really tired because it's been postponed like 2 or 3 times, is Black Widow. And I'm sitting here saying, you got your Disney streaming service, you got your movie that's, I guess it was going to make $1 billion. I don't know, maybe 800 million or around about that. But release it. Release the movie so that the rest of the movies, because it's holding everything else up.
Yeah, well, obviously they feel like they're going to make less money by doing that. So I think they're, you know, you mentioned a movie like for me that movie is the Top Gun sequel,
Right.
and they just keep pushing that back
Pushing it
because
back and back and back until the
and
point
then
where you're like, it's going to be 2 or 3 years.
yeah, and then I saw something about maybe it was Tenet that it's only made something like 200 million domestically or something.
Right.
But look,
But it costs 200 million to make.
what do you charge for a ticket at a movie theater? Like, what do they pay? What are they like $10 now? Let's say, right?
Right.
So the family of four goes to the theater. Now I don't know what the studios get of that $10. Um, I mean maybe you have some insight on that, but let's say they get half,
Right.
right? So family of four goes to the theater. They spend $40 on tickets, and then Marvel gets 10 of that. Then Marvel gets 20 of that 40. Well, then why not just put it on demand on streaming for and you got like I don't see where they're losing money. I think what it
Yeah,
is that they just want to make more.
I think it's just greed.
So,
It's
right?
just greed.
How
They
much
they
is
they
enough?
don't make these. They don't make these movies for the love of it. For the fans, they don't do that. They
Yeah.
talk about it, but it's hardly not made for that. It's made for money. Um.
But I think what's gonna end up happening is it looks like it's heading in the direction where even the studios that are holding out on doing this are they're gonna end up being forced to do it because
They're gonna be forced to release it.
yeah, and so you know if you're a smart business person, and I don't, outside of the bar business, I don't have any idea how to run a business, but it seems to me, you know, if a novice like me can see that coming. Like, so what are you doing? If I can see it, and you people are supposed to be the business experts, and I can see this train coming down the tracks, just
Right.
go ahead and do it. Why? What are you doing? So I think in the end, they're just gonna have an issue with the fans, and like, look, because people like me, the first thing I like, look, I see HBO Max and I see Peacock and I see Disney Plus, and the first thing I say to them, I ain't buying all that stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how this is. I don't know how to predict what's going to happen here. But I think we're going to head. I think we're heading in that direction where
Um,
everything's just going to come out at the same time. And
really
I
want to
think that's
shift.
it. Well,
Oh, go
one
ahead.
more thing. I think people are going to be surprised. And the other thing is, if if I want to go see Black Widow, right?
Yes.
To me, there's something too. And I don't go to a theater anymore unless it's one of those theaters that have the seats and the and they bring you your food to the. I'm spoiled with that.
Right.
We got a couple of them here in Raleigh, and I don't go to the movies unless that's where I go. And
Okay.
I think, speaking for myself, I'm still willing to do that. I'm perfectly willing to go and even if I can get it on streaming the same day, I'm perfectly willing to take my kids or my wife or girlfriend or whatever and have that event. And I think people are still going to be willing to do it. So I don't think there's a lot of money to be lost here in the end.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm kind of still stuck on the fact that unfortunately, until vaccines are in arms, and for those that are not going to take the vaccine, so be it. But until there's vaccines in arms and this situation that we're dealing with somewhat slows down at a rapid pace, I think even talking about a movie or talking about movie theaters or these like outdoor events, it's like it's not a priority.
Right. And people are acting as if uh you know this is just gonna for example, delaying Top Gun or Black Widow. It's making a bet that everything's going to be okay, and and I'm not sure that we flip a switch and that everything's just back to normal. So it just
Yeah,
kind of seems like a sucker bet to me, you know?
yeah, I think we're far from that.
Yeah.
Couple other things I want to touch upon briefly before we wrap it up. Um, Amazon and Thursday Night Football. It's the package that I don't think a lot of these networks, these legacy networks, are interested in. But Amazon seems to like it. I've watched it, in different flavors on Amazon itself. It seems to just work over there because it's a Thursday game. It's not like a game that can be flexed, so you're kind of stuck with it.
Well, are they giving it for free?
No, nothing's being given for free. You got to be a Prime member.
You got to be a Prime member. You got to be a. So, okay. So the Thursday night game was formally, I think initially it started on the NFL Network, right?
Right, and it's still on NFL
It's
Network.
still so take Amazon away. It was still being broadcast exclusively on the NFL Network.
Right,
So you had to be a cable subscriber to get that, or unless you subscribe directly.
right.
Um, and so now, so are they still doing it on the NFL Network?
They are simulcasting it still on the NFL Network. So I think when an actual deal happens, I think it gets yanked off of the NFL Network.
Well,
That's what I think. I think it gets yanked, but who
okay.
knows?
I Look, in my mind, that's okay because the Thursday night game is trash anyway, generally.
Right.
So, whatever. I mean, I, being that I'm not a hardcore football fan, just being a casual fan the way I am, I'll hear about it on Sports Center, I guess. But um, look, we know that the hardcore football fans they're going to get their football. So we'll see what happens. But I didn't even. You saying that is news to me. I didn't even know Amazon was doing that.
Um, who is that? Donald?
Yeah,
Donald, I hear you. I'm gonna give you a thumbs up on that, Donald.
yeah.
Um, I will say this. MLB, no Hall of Fame inductees for this season, so we'll just solely have Jeter and Larry Walker going in. Do you have any issue with that? Does it hurt baseball?
Does it hurt baseball? I don't think it hurts base. I don't think it hurts baseball. I don't think. I don't think people are going to say, "Well, I'm not." Any sports fan that says to me, "I'm not ever watching this again." All right, you're full of it. All right, that's not true. So I don't think it hurts baseball. It certainly makes baseball look silly. Um, Look, you'll never tell me or convince me that the steroid guys don't belong in the hall. And in the case of somebody like Schilling, it's, well, we didn't vote him in because we think he's a jerk. Uh,
Is it we think he's a, I mean, oh, and I want to let you know, Kurt Schilling is a part of this HAPS network.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, or is it the fact that people just don't like his politics?
Well, right, that's what I mean. They don't like his politics. They don't think he's a jerk, but that doesn't have anything to do with him being a baseball player. I mean, look, if you're going to use that standard, then what the hell is Ty Cobb doing in the Hall of Fame still? Right?
Right.
So, look, is it going to hurt baseball in the end? I don't think it's going to hurt them, but it's certainly silly, and it certainly and so, but baseball has an out because all they have to, well, the writers.
Yeah,
So
they point the finger towards the writers.
yeah, so
What
so this
else?
isn't baseball is going to be fine. Or, I mean, if baseball, the thing that's going to hurt baseball is the whole thing with the the players association and the owners airing their dirty laundry in public. you know Here we are in the middle of a pandemic and they can't seem to, all they're doing is fighting with
They,
each
they,
other over,
they can't
you
seem to
know
get their stuff together.
yeah, like, and I don't, and normally I'm on the player's side with all of this stuff, but I don't know what they're doing with the DH thing. you know they they're trying to use it as a chip to get something else, but that's something that does nothing but help them anyway.
Right.
Instantly, you've created 15, 16 more jobs. Now you've got guys whose careers are going to be extended.
Yeah.
It's what are they doing? So I think that's the kind of thing that's hurting baseball rather than Hall of Fame controversies, because eventually, next week we're going to be like Kurt Schilling, who, and that's going to be that. But and until it rears its ugly head next year.
Yeah, I think after next year, then it goes strictly to the Veterans Committee, and is taken out of the writers' hands.
Yeah, and well, you know what I heard? I heard an interesting take on it today, and I liked it. And it was actually, um, I was listening to sports radio while I was working, and it was actually a caller that said, "Look, well, what you do is, once you're eligible, you're on the ballot. There's no limits to how many people you can vote for, and everybody that makes 75%, so theoretically you could have 30 guys get in one year, and then you just reset it. Because my whole thing is, Will Kurt Schilling's numbers change next year?
No, they won't.
His numbers are what they are. The man hasn't pitched in 14 years. So, like, why are we leaving dudes on the ballot for 10, 15 years, and then all of a sudden they get in? Well, if he wasn't a Hall of Famer 2 years ago, how is he one now? So, these are the little things that get people uh, upset, but I don't think it moves the needle as far as, we're not going to see a mass exodus for fans because of this whole thing. So yeah, that would be that. That's my take on that whole thing.
Have you ever been to Cooperstown?
Yeah, I have. It was a fun experience. Any baseball fan should do it. But I mean, man, it had to be 15 years ago, if not more.
I think next to last item I want to talk about is NBC Sports. They had I would say, a great week, or for some people would say, interesting week, with shutting down their legacy, cable channel, NBCSN, shifting their, over the next year, shifting their sports. They've already shifted most of their programming, the morning and afternoon programming, over to Peacock, following the model of AT&T with, TNT, the channel TNT during the day syndicates programs, but at nighttime, as you know, shows this NBA basketball and AEW wrestling. I think it's a model that's definitely going to work. And also behind that, with NBC securing licensing for the WWE network, their content and their live pay-per-views. I think it's, you take that, and then that's a mouthful, but I think they're moving in the right direction.
I think so too. Yeah, and here's the thing. Remember when we were talking about the NHL? Remember I said that one of the problems with the NHL is that they're not getting their product onto the main network. Well, you know what? Maybe they're not getting their product on the main network, but the move to USA is kind of that. Everybody knows. Everybody that has cable has the USA network. It is a basic cable channel. Everybody knows how to find the USA network, as opposed to the. So I think the big winner in that NHL NBCSN thing is the NHL itself. I think that's going to end up being the case, because now automatically there's more eyeballs on them.
Right.
Everybody might not have had NBCSN, but everyone's got USA. So, and that helps. That's going to help NBC. That's going to help the NHL. And I like that model. I like that. We'll broadcast live sports at night. Syndication, dude, seems to me like a moneymaker.
It does. Yeah. I don't know if you have. Do you have Peacock? Have you tried Peacock, the free version? Because there's a free. No. It's a $5 and there's a $10 version.
I haven't. I haven't looked at it at all. I'm guessing they have. I'm guessing they have NBC shows. They have like NBC library of stuff. Is that it?
Library of shows, and it's like, you go to your TV guide and you can see the items that are airing live or, in video on demand. And you go to the sports section and, you got the Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen and all those types of shows. But if you didn't catch the live version, you could immediately catch the video on demand version.
Oh, and that's, and then it there's tiers of it. So I guess.
Yeah, that's all free. That's all free. All of that stuff is free. And so it's like you can go from news to entertainment to sports all right there. And I was sitting there thinking, I said, man, come NHL Stanley Cup playoff time, I'm wondering if they will have a list of games.
Yeah, kind of like if you buy the NHL package, you mean? You
Right,
can just,
right.
yeah.
Because the playoffs should be free, right? I mean, you get your package during the regular season. You have to pay for it, but the playoffs is something that they used to air amongst their channels, and you can never find where that specific game is.
Right, because one
played.
game was on CNBC, and then exactly. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering. I was like, man, how's this going to work?
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. The free version, I'm guessing NBC makes their money from the ads.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
And then you can pay for an ad-free version.
Right.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think I think once again it's only good for the NHL, as far as that goes. I don't know how that's going to affect the WWE product.
Well, you gotta pay for. You gotta pay. I think $5.
So, but now they charge. How much do they charge now for the WWE network?
$9.99.
Okay.
So, and this is $4.99.
Right.
But most of their content, we've seen it already as either kids or through DVDs or through YouTube. So I kind of just question. I mean, and they paid some big money. 5 years, $1 billion.
Well, I guess what they might be counting on is the WWE Network subscribers who are paying $9.99 a month, saying, "Oh, hey, look, we can pay $4.99, get our same product, and then we can spend, $4.99 on the ad-free version of NBC of Peacock, and then we're just spending the same money we were spending for the WWE Network anyway."
Right.
Maybe they're counting on that to bring some more eyeballs in. But like you said, I mean, if I want to see, Starcade '91 or something, I'm gonna go on. My first stop is YouTube. So I don't know, but that's just me. People are, they're not just throwing around all that money because somebody's buying this stuff, right? You're not throwing around $200 million a year for nothing. So
the last thing I would say to it is regional sports networks. If I'm NBC and I have maybe 7 or 8 of them, I would make like the game of the week available on Peacock, and that's MLB, that's NHL, and/or NBA. If they're already a part of your regional sports network, you should be able to take, not every game, but make a special game that you choose and put it on your network. That's how you drum up subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, my only worry about all of this streaming stuff is that people are going to start saying to themselves that, hey, once I add up all of this stuff that I'm having to pay for, is there really any value to me?
I don't know.
And I think that's the question that's going to have to be answered. And I don't know what the answer to that is.
I think it's highly doubtful, because if I buy the 7 or 8 services, I'm spending more money than I would with my legacy cable subscription.
That's what I'm saying. And now you have to be in a position as a consumer where you're forced to pick and choose. And I guess it would be I guess it would be touted as freedom of choice. But I'm saying, man, I was getting all that stuff for $100 before, and
Right.
and now by the time I add up my Netflix and my Spotify and my this and my that and the other, how much am I spending?
More than I want to spend.
Right. And so then as a consumer, you have to decide, all right, well, am I going to, if I'm paying more, well, which one do I want? Do I want Peacock or do I want Disney Plus? Do I want, and people are going to have to start making those choices. And so does that hurt the providers? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But that's what I would be worried about in that industry.
Last question is on binging. What are you binging right now?
Oh wow! I just started American Gods.
Okay.
That's on Stars, and they just put out the third season. And so I went. I had never. I'm a. I don't. I think I read the book way back when.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm doing that one, and I just finished Ted Lasso on Apple TV, and that was fun. It's a nice. I recommend it for it's uplifting, it's funny, it's you'll laugh, you'll cry, the whole thing. So that's been a good. And the great thing about that, half-hour episodes.
Okay.
So you can the first season is 10 episodes,
It's
and
5 hours.
you can knock that out in 2 days.
Okay.
And that's what I like about that. And I mean, I guess I wouldn't call it binging, but WandaVision, because they're only putting out one a week.
Gotcha.
So I started that, and I still don't know what in the world is actually going on. So if anybody out there can explain that to me, holler at your boy over here and let me know. But I don't know. What about you? What do you got?
I'm gonna watch. My wife told me to watch American Skin, and
What's that? What's that all about?
I can't really tell you, but I think it's some type of mystery or crime drama. It's like a 2 hour show. It's not an it's one setting. One sitting, you're done with the movie. So I guess it's like a 2 hour movie or something like that.
Oh,
Bridgerton. I've been hearing a lot about that. Bridgerton or some show.
yeah. It seems to be a kind of The Crown wannabe.
Yes, yes.
Or something like that, trying to capitalize on that kind of vibe.
I will give it a watch. WandaVision. I'll give that. I've watched I think the first 3 episodes. I was kind of taken back because it was only 30-minute episodes, and I'm saying for all the hoopla for this, you would at least think you get hour-long episodes, but I guess not.
Yeah, and once again, I'm thoroughly confused. So, obviously they're trapped somewhere, or
Yeah.
I guess, but no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No
No
spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have you come back because we got to do a deep dive into. I guess we can go streaming and, well, not really streaming, but get into kind of a little bit about WWE versus AEW versus all the other independents that are out there.
Well, now you're in my wheelhouse.
Now I'm in your wheelhouse. So we'll touch base on this, and we'll try to get back in touch next week.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you.